Hello and welcome to the Kerbal Fuel Crisis episode 7, I believe. I really should have looked at that before I started recording. Anyway, last episode we had so many things happen, which is why this could be a very sad episode. Because we're loading up our very special cargo plane, which looks really cool, and I'm very proud of, and I hope I get to use it more in the future. But we're loading this up to go to the mining base for what very probably will be the last time. Because if you have watched the last episode, so much happened. We had weird alien space viruses, we had weird glitches, we had the kethane deposit inexplicably disappear from under our mining base exactly as it was finished, which is annoying to say the least. But we were able to get a probe in orbit. We've been able to identify new kethane patches. We'll be able to set up the base elsewhere. But first step in that is going to be getting our cargo plane on site so that we can collect all of our personnel. We're not going to leave anyone at this base, including the people who were inexplicably made comatose by the space virus. So, putting down this really awesome plane. If you play with B9, I would really recommend looking at these the ramp and storage parts, because they are really cool and very much fun to play with. Though you will notice I've been using, I didn't mention this before, but I have to use stock landing gear on everything, because I didn't know this before, but I found since that there is a glitch with the B9 landing gear that I have been unable to correct as of yet. I saw something about messing with the config files in the landing gear, but I've been unable to get the thing to correct. So for now, stock landing gear for everyone. Hooray! Anyway, landing at the mining base with our Kerbal cargo craft, which I was pretty proud of. The inside is mostly just cargo seats, as we'll see in a minute, as well as actually being able to fit a rover into the plane, which I was very proud of. I'm sorry that I couldn't show you the build for this. I know a lot of people have been asking for more builds. There aren't going to be builds. Well, there's not going to be very many builds in this episode because I was building a lot of fairly complicated things that I had to test under non-canon circumstances in some cases, so that's why some of the builds aren't done. Also because some of it's a secret. And I like secrets in videos, they're fun. Excuse me. So, at the moment we are simply going to collect everyone. I should have paid attention to this guy's name when I was picking him up. But collecting the members from the truck and the other scattered little base bits all around. And getting our personnel back home. So, first up is one of our spaceplane truck drivers, which when I think about it really isn't fair. He hasn't been there as long as some of the other people. That's the plane that crash landed when we were trying to bring the original mining station into the base, and he's actually been there second longest of anyone, which I guess is fine, being that the person who was there longest, poor old Sam Kerman, is in a catatonic state somewhere, apparently, though now I notice him in the background. And he seems to be standing, so we're going to have to check on that later on. First up, though, our brave Kerbal is going to have to negotiate his way around this rover, which I put in and have yet to be able to move because I couldn't get the remote guidance to select properly, so he had to go around it and make his way to his seat in a very awkward Kerbal-esque manner, falling down quite a lot. And you'll notice we have room for the entire crew, so no worries other than having to wander around that rover. Next up is one of our other recent additions. This, as you may remember, is the truck, plane truck that we made last episode to scan for kethane on the way here, which it found none of. None coming, none at the base, which is the major problem we're going to have to address in this episode. But it seems that this is becoming a case of last to come, first to leave, kind of, which I actually didn't think about until I started rewatching this footage to do the commentary, so interesting to note, if nothing else. So I decided to try to move the rover out of the way. The entire point of the rover is I thought that with Sam Cal and his friend Catatonic, we were going to have to get this rover near them, see if we could select them and get them to sit in the little seat. And I figured the sheer exhilaration of being able to drive a little rover would really help them. Now, unfortunately, the rover, I don't know if I got it stuck on the way out or turned it slightly, or if it's just really too magnetically attracted to that docking port. because it was impossible to control. So I put this in just for fun. But I tried to get it to go out straight backward, as you saw, and it rotated. So now I'm trying to get it to turn around, and instead it keeps docking itself. So I decided to just give up on that, and everyone's going to have to walk around the rover. It's unfortunate, but having the rover there was kind of just a fun thing, really. It's not strictly necessary. I thought it might help revive some of our kerbals, but as we can see in the background, they seem to be okay, and there we go. Sam Kell is fine. We cured them, apparently. I guess while they were sitting there, their suits found a way to compensate for the strange space virus, or one of their friends was able to come out with a flash of inspiration and cure them, or they got bored from lying down. That wouldn't surprise me with kerbals. Would it surprise you that a kerbal can't sit still for that long? I mean, honestly. So I'm pretty sure that it was the previous version. I read something about an update that was killing kerbals, so I think it was just the previous version. I was since able to update again, and get everything working for a second time, and it's going to be fun to do again once 2.4 comes out. It's such a pain in the butt to work around some of these updates when you're doing a series, but you don't need to hear me babble about my problems, really. You want to watch kerbals walk, and that's really what you come here for. I know. That's why I put so much kerbal walking into this series, because that's really all you care about. And we now have all 6 of the mining crew inexplicably jumping around the aircraft for, I don't know, some reason. But there they are, sitting nicely in a row. I thought it was a fun thing. I really do love this plane design. I think I hope to use it later on. Maybe I'll just shuttle some superfluous crew out to the second mining base for the heck of it, instead of bringing them one at a time like we did with this current base. However, now that we're all loaded up, we have to head home, which is a very sad occasion for me. We spent so long building this base up, and now it must be abandoned. But it's alright, because with all the temporal fissures, whatevers, and disappearing ships, and crash ships, and disappearing buildings, and all the other things happening here, it's probably good to abandon it. This is like the beginning of one of those sci-fi horror movies where weird stuff starts happening at the underwater base or something, and they go, oh, I'm sure it's fine, and then giant Leviathan space demon shows up, and like, oh my god, how could we have known that a space demon shows up? Just think of this as leaving before the space demon. Alright, because we don't want to have to deal with that. Now, being that this is such a emotional occasion for all of us, I decided to do a quick flyby of the base one more time in order to get, one last look at what we spent so long trying to accomplish in our previous episodes. So here we go, as the game stutters while it loads all of our objects. One last final look at our mining base that we unfortunately will never see its like again. Let us take a moment of silence as we pass for our fallen mining facility. And moment of silence over, because me not talking is boring. I know that. That's why some of you watch this, because I talk too much. Or my girlfriend says I talk too much in these. I don't know. Actually, I believe what she said is I talk too fast in certain parts. She sometimes listens to me while I am recording these. Working in the same room is a bit awkward in a teeny apartment when I have to record and have her be quiet while I'm recording these. Anyway, there's some of my personal life for you. So now we've landed, we have all of our people back home, and it's a very solemn but still wonderful occasion that we were able to get all of our people back home. So safe and sound. Let's take a look at them here, because I like opening and closing these cargo bay doors, because it's cool. They really need to put cargo bay doors in the stock game, because I don't know, they work in all the mods. I don't get why they're not in the stock game yet. I'd love to play vanilla if they had all this stuff. Anyway, all back. But you know what? You didn't think that we'd forgotten about Bill, did you? I bet you forgot about Bill with all this other stuff going on. So Bill, last episode, was trying to bring back the last of the fuel reserves from the kethane base, and had to go down for a soft water landing, which is fairly unfortunate, if you ask me. So we have to build some sort of water recovery apparatus. And this is Mark II. I did record Mark 1, but it wasn't very interesting to watch me build from scratch because I have no experience with water things. But here we are. I call this the Water Strider. It's using some not B9. I do forget the name of the mod. It's using some additional aircraft parts that have water landing gear in order to float, because building boats with stock parts is a pain. I have tried it. I know people can do it. I don't know how. And it's a pain in the butt for me, and I find it so frustrating I often just quit the game immediately. So no stock boats for me. Thankfully we do have these aircraft parts that are going to let us get in there. So there is Bill's plane. We now must take our boat and get it to Bill's plane, which is actually easier said than done. Believe it or not, a game about space travel does not have particularly good water physics. Who knew? So these floaty parts kind of behave very weirdly. It's actually got better water physics than you'd expect. The water does not behave at all like land, but it's definitely not meant to be driven on. But in any event, we are able to crash land into Bill's plane without much problem, and get the ladder down. I did take some kajiggering to get that ladder in a good place. I was almost blocking it a couple times when I was designing this thing, but I was able to get it into a nice kind of cool area back there, actually. So here we go, Bill, out of the plane and swimming over, and thankfully, and people honking outside the window for no real reason, I don't know, but swimming over toward the Water Strider thingy here, which I don't know, Kerbals actually swim pretty well. I'm always surprised. I'm constantly surprised the level of detail that Squad put into this game with the Kerbal swimming, just the detail on the rockets, all those little things. Constantly impressed. And this game doesn't like water landings. It doesn't want you to land in the water. The water is impossible to land on, impossible to drive on, impossible to float on, will destroy your craft instantly. And yet they put in a fairly nice swimming animation for the Kerbals. And really, very, very impressive to me. I don't know. Am I the only one that's impressed by that? I'm just easily impressed. So anyway, I forgot that I should have turned before I turned the engine on. Wound up much further away from shore, but did get a kind of cool shot there of the airplane shadow. And I'm leaving a little of this sound in because I had no idea what this was. You notice this kind of weird tink 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 sound that I think I'll turn off after this for game noises, but I have no idea what that was, and I thought it was kind of interesting, if annoying. So anyway, so the tinky tinky noise, tink 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 tink. Anyway, enough about the tinky tinky noise. Bill heading back on his way home, lowered the landing gear, which does create a significant amount of drag. I was surprised how well the physics and things were done on these engines, especially since they're not part of the base game at all. But able to get Bill back on shore and flip in a weird way, doing a wheelie, and now doing a wheelie turn, and the ship trying to come apart but not really able to because of struts and things, and we're all the way over. But the important thing to note here is that Bill is back on dry land. So personally, I'm calling this a win. Good job, Bill. Any landing you can walk away from. Now, we get into the meat of the game. We have created a new base module. What's in here is a secret, except that it's a base module. Anyway, this is our new base plane that we're sending out to a kethane field that we have discovered to the north. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, I took this opportunity to start a new save file. Because with the update, with the asteroid update, asteroids only appear in new save files. And I really wanted to play with asteroids. I thought I was going to have to do some save editing or something to get my ships in properly. But being that we were abandoning the mining base and had to start more or less from scratch in any event, I decided to simply start a new save in order to get all of the new content into the game. So, I apologize if you dislike that, but that's what I'm doing, and I think it's a fair compromise. So, we are heading towards this large kethane patch up to the north here. And I skipped over this. This is actually about as far away as the last kethane patch. I think it's a very fair comparison, distance-wise, because this one goes north, the other one just went straight across. Unfortunately, that does mean that anything that if we were able to launch anything from this location, which I've experimented with the extraplanetary launch pads in this, but unfortunately they don't work. They're freezing the game up. I'll see if I can make them work. But if we launch anything from here, it's going to be difficult because it's no longer equatorial. And there we go, releasing our fairings to reveal our very compact two-part mining base that we're sending out. Probably more pieces to come. Actually, I'm having trouble thinking of ideas of what else we would need for this mining station, so if you have any ideas, please do let me know. I'll be taking suggestions. Now, we lower the landing gear, which is very important, because we don't have any control on the other stage there that we just let loose. We let loose that first, so that we can have our other stage get further away, and that lessens the chances of slamming into each other when they have their parachutes engage. Now it's just a matter of waiting until they fall to the ground, which we know they do, so I'm going to skip some of that. But the advantage of this, as opposed to our previous aircraft, is I purposely put more control into this. I put it inside the fairing just to look cool, honestly, because it does nothing. In matter of fact, that fairing does nothing in this version of the game because I don't have aerodynamics installed, and I'm never going to because I've had it hard enough time designing planes as it is. I put it on purely to look cool. But with the bomb design, I was able to get it closer to the ground, have more control over it the entire time, and decide where I staged it in a better way. Whereas the previous disposable aircraft we used to put the mining base out, all the parachutes just went off, it turned into a bunch of pieces in midair and fell, and everything was miles away from each other. This one I was able to maintain control of until it was very close to the ground, engage the parachutes when I wanted to, and have them land very close to each other, within 30 meters, because I was able to attach that pipe with no problem. Though I did bring extenders in this box that I can't get to. I kept this in because I thought it was funny. But I put the box too high up to grab from the ground. And I spent quite a while, as you will see, trying to get the box down. Thankfully, you can grab the box, which I was able to do in a minute here, I think. There we go. You can grab the entire box, which means I don't have to do that jumpy weird stuff every time I want to grab anything. So in addition to setting up the one pipe, I decided that I wanted to put down a ground pylon and a fuel line going from the main mining system here, so that when I do land planes, I don't have to worry so much about the wingspan. I remember on the previous base, I was having a huge problem with trying to get the planes close enough to the base that they could refuel, but keep them far enough away that they could take off without too much problem. So I'm going to make kind of an impromptu runway using ground pylons and things as a fuel interim, so that I can load the planes from further away. And that is more or less it. This is setting up the base. It's here. One mission, we have a functional base. As I said, please let me know if you have any ideas for additional buildings or things that we need, because this base is feeling way too sparse to me, while it is functional. And while we'll probably be able to launch a space mission much sooner than we would have been able to in the previous game, when it took 7 episodes to set up the base, we learned so much. But while we'll be able to set up something else, I would like to expand the base a little bit. Because I just don't like the sparsity. Yes, we could make it work with this, but if we weren't going to do superfluously complicated things, why would we be doing this series? Like, ask yourself. Oh, I did not notice that weird drilling noise before. I guess that's my bad. So, while we finish setting up the base with our Kerbal that I've already forgot the name of because I'm terrible with names, I do apologize. I had a question to ask, and also I apologize for this being a slightly short episode. I couldn't think of anything else to add after this that would have enhanced the episode in any way. Next time we'll be doing some fuel runs and possibly messing with some space planes and things. But I had a question to ask, since this is my most popular series on the channel, and I very much appreciate all of your support and positivity that you've given me on this series. I wanted to ask you, what other stuff would you enjoy seeing? I have a lot of fun doing this series. It does take up a huge amount of time to get these episodes done, so I'll let you know I'm going to have problems doing too many more of these in a week. But what other things would you guys like to see on the channel? You may have noticed that I play other things. I don't know how many of you enjoy those. I perfectly understand if you enjoy Kerbal Space Program more than Diablo. They are very separate games. But anyway, other ideas, other things you'd enjoy seeing, I'd very much like to know. Would you like to see more Kerbal content? I could try doing some tutorials, which I've never really tried to do before. Do other series, play through the game slightly more normally, maybe do some career or asteroid missions or random things within Kerbal Space Program, or if you have any other games you'd really like to see, let me know, basically. I really appreciate all your support, and I'd like to do content that you enjoy watching. With that being said, you can like if you liked the video, you can subscribe if you'd like to be notified for more. You can follow me on Twitter for video updates and random pictures about what I'm cooking. Seems to be mostly what I put up on there. I'm bad at Twitter. I'll admit it. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment, tell me what you liked, tell me what you didn't like, tell me what I did wrong, etc. You know how YouTube works. Other than that, I'm Gepwin. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.